Um, Picture this for a second. It is 6:00 a.m. The alarm goes off, and you are up. You don't hit snooze. You hit the floor running.
Ugh, the absolute worst.
Right. You've got the artisan coffee brewing. You're clearing out the inbox before the kids even wake up. You're packing the healthy lunches, organic, obviously, no refined sugars, and you get to work early. You crush every KPI. You handle the midday crisis. You stay late to mentor the intern. You are doing everything right. You are the backbone of the organization.
I can literally feel my cortisol spiking just listening to that. That is the grind. That is modern life.
It really is.
Yeah.
Now imagine you look over at the desk next to you at 4:55 p.m., and there's a guy who just strolled in, let's say, 20 minutes ago.
Okay.
He's barely prepared. His tie is crooked. He hasn't broken a sweat all day. And then the boss walks in and hands you both a bonus check.
Oh, I see where this is going.
And you look at the checks, and they're for the exact same amount.
Oh, immediately no. That visceral reaction, that tightening in the chest, that is just pure. That's not fair.
It makes you want to scream, doesn't it?
It's not just annoyance. That feeling right there, that is the engine of burnout. Because if my hustle didn't buy me anything extra, why am I so tired?
Stay with us, because the answer to that question changes how you see absolutely everything.
Welcome back to the deep dive.
We are continuing our exploration of the series, Kingdom Conversations, the Upside-Down Revolution. And today, we are tackling a total monster.
We are talking about hustle, status, and burnout.
Yes.
Specifically, why the concept of the kingdom seems to go out of its way to offend high achievers.
We have a really fascinating set of materials today. We've got detailed notes from Pastor Florin's series on the kingdom, specifically looking at God as a benefactor king.
Right, and we're layering that with some eye-opening data from a recent community needs assessment that touches on what people are actually feeling in our local neighborhoods right now.
Exactly. So the mission for this deep dive is simple. We want to unpack why your exhaustion is tied to your identity and how a very controversial ancient story might offer a way off the treadmill.
I love that. So let's map this out.
First, we're going to talk about the achievement trap and why we feel like we are constantly negotiating for our worth.
Then we're going to look at the vineyard scandal. It's a story from Jesus that, quite frankly, offends our modern sense of economics and fairness.
And finally, we'll hit the exit ramp. We've got practical scripts and ideas to help you stop what Pastor Florin calls scoreboard living.
Scoreboard living. I think I've been living there for about 10 years.
Most of us have. But let's start with the context. Looking at the recent community research from the assessment, there is a very specific vibe out there, isn't there?
There really is. You know, you look at the local demographics, and we're talking about an area that on paper is just winning. High incomes, nice houses, great school districts.
Yeah.
But when you peel back the curtain, the data shows this rising tide of anxiety.
It's the duck syndrome, right?
Yeah.
Calm on the surface, paddling furiously underneath.
That's the one. The research highlights a significant spike in depression and youth stress. But this one stat really jumped out at me. 54% of parents feel spiritually unequipped.
That is a massive number, more than half.
Yeah, and think about who these people are. These are successful professionals. They manage teams, they manage complex budgets, they navigate corporate politics.
Right.
But when it comes to leading their families or feeling like they're actually succeeding at what matters most, they feel like they're failing.
It's that pervasive feeling of not enoughness.
And that brings us to the achievement trap. Pastor Florin's notes argue that we have bought into a very specific equation, which is that my value equals my output.
If I produce more, I am worth more. If I earn more status,
Yeah.
I am a better person.
Exactly. And that leads directly to that scoreboard living. You're constantly checking it. Am I ahead of the neighbors? Am I behind on my emails? Am I winning or losing at parenting today?
It's a zero-sum game.
And it is exhausting because the scoreboard never resets. You have to win again every single morning.
But here is the kicker, and this is where we get into the upside-down revolution part of this series. Jesus tells a story that completely dismantles this scoreboard. And honestly, it's designed to make you angry before it sets you free.
I'll be honest, when I read through the breakdown of this parable, I was definitely on the angry side. It rubs against all my capitalist programming.
So let's unpack it. This is from Matthew chapter 20, the parable of the workers in the vineyard. Pastor Florin titles one of his messages on this, A Fair Day's Pay.
The setup is pretty standard for the first century. You've got a landowner, a vineyard owner who needs to get the harvest in immediately, so he goes out at 6 a.m. to the marketplace to hire day laborers.
These are the guys who are up early, ready to work. These are the hustlers we talked about in the intro.
Right, and the text points out a crucial detail here. This first group, the 6.0 a.m. group, they negotiate. The text says the landowner agreed to pay them a denarius for the day.
Just for clarity, a denarius wasn't a massive fortune, but it was the standard fair day's wage. It was enough to feed a family for a day.
A living wage.
Exactly. So they shake hands, the contract is signed, the deal is done, they get to work.
We can call them the fair wage workers. They know exactly what they're worth, and they have a contract to prove it.
But the owner isn't done. He goes back out at 9 a.m., then again at noon, then again at 3:00 p.m., and he hires more people. But for these groups, the deal is different.
Yeah, this is interesting. He doesn't promise a specific number. He just says, go work, and I will pay you whatever is right.
Pastor Florin calls these the trust me, I'll pay you workers. They didn't negotiate. They didn't have a contract. They just trusted the character of the owner.
But then it gets weird. It's 5:00 p.m. The workday ends at 6:00. There is 1 hour left. The sun is literally going down.
Right.
And the owner goes out and finds people still standing in the marketplace.
And he asks them, why have you been standing here all day doing nothing? And they say, because no one has hired us.
Now pause there. In our modern hustle culture, what is our immediate assumption about these guys?
Oh, we judge them instantly. We think, why didn't you network better? Why weren't you up at 6 a.m.? You must be lazy. You're the slackers.
Exactly. We assume a defect in their character, but the owner says, you go into the vineyard too. They work for 1 single hour. They've barely broken a sweat.
And then the whistle blows. Payday. And the owner tells the foreman to do something very specific. He says, pay them their wages, beginning with the last ones hired and going on to the first.
He wants the 6 a.m. guys, the ones who've been sweating in the scorching heat for 12 hours to watch. He wants them to see the transaction.
So the 5 p.m. guys step up. They worked 1 hour, and the foreman hands them a full day's wage. A whole denarius.
Now, put yourself in the shoes of the 6 a.m. crew. You're standing in line, you have dirt under your fingernails, your back is aching. You just saw the guy who showed up at the last minute get a full day's pay. What is the math going on in your head?
Oh, it's pure multiplication. If he got a denarius for 1 hour, and I worked 12 hours, I'm about to get 12 denarii. I'm hitting the jackpot. I'm buying a boat.
The expectations skyrockets. You're thinking, finally, meritocracy. Finally, I get what I earned.
And they step up to the table. They hold out their hands, expecting a bag of gold. And the foreman drops 1 single denarius.
The exact same amount.
And they lose it. The text says they began to grumble against the landowner. They say, these men who were hired last worked only 1 hour, and you have made them equal to us who have borne the burden of the work and the heat of the day.
And be honest, listening to this, you side with the 6 a.m. guys, don't you?
100%. My internal HR department is filing a complaint immediately.
It feels fundamentally unfair. It violates everything we know about economics, about effort, about justice.
And that feeling, that this isn't right feeling, that is exactly what we need to unpack. Because Pastor Florin's message suggests that is where the burnout lives.
He breaks this down using a concept called comparative justice. This is how most of us operate. We judge fairness by looking sideways.
We compare our sweat to someone else's sweat, my output versus your output. And if I worked harder, I deserve more. That's the rule of the world.
But the kingdom is described as an upside-down revolution. In this kingdom, value isn't based on economic yield. It's not based on usefulness.
This is the hard pivot. The landowner turns to the grumbling worker and says, and I love this line, friend, I am not being unfair to you. Didn't you agree to work for a denarius?
He technically fulfilled the contract. He gave them exactly what they negotiated for.
But then he drops the hammer. He says, I want to give the one who was hired last the same as I gave you. Don't I have the right to do what I want with my own money? And then here is the question that haunts me. Or are you envious because I am generous?
Oh, that stings. Are you envious because I am generous?
Pastor Florin argues that the 6 a.m. workers had a hidden darkness revealed. It wasn't just about the money. It was envy. They couldn't enjoy their pay, which was a fair, good wage, because they were too busy looking at someone else's plate.
This is the root of status anxiety. If my worth is relative to you, then your success is my failure. If you get a break, I feel cheated.
And think about how this plays out in that exhaustion engine we talked about. If you are a 6 a.m. worker, and let's face it, most of our listeners probably identify as that you are carrying the heavy load. You are doing the work.
Yeah.
And when you see someone else get blessed or promoted or recognized who didn't put in the hours, it makes you bitter.
And bitterness is heavy. Bitterness burns a lot of energy. No wonder we're tired. We're working a 12-hour shift and carrying a backpack full of resentment.
But, I can hear the objection already. I can hear the skeptic in the back of the room raising their hand right now.
Oh, absolutely. I'm raising my hand. The objection is, okay, fine. God is generous. But if I get the same love, the same worth, the same status, whether I work 12 hours or 1 hour, why work hard at all? Does the kingdom just create lazy people?
It's the moral hazard argument. If this generosity is free, won't we just abuse it?
If I don't have to earn my keep, won't I just become a squatter? It seems like a recipe for a collapsing society.
Pastor Florin tackles this head-on in his thesis regarding intrinsic worth. And this is the key shift. It's moving from earning to responding.
Unpack that for me.
Think about the 5 p.m. workers. When they got that full day's wage, do you think they walked away thinking, I scammed him?
No. They were probably stunned, overwhelmed. They were staring at money they didn't deserve but desperately needed.
They were likely the most grateful people on the planet. The motivation shifts. When you know you are valuable because of who you are, a child of the benefactor king, rather than what you produce, you don't stop working. You stop striving.
That is a critical distinction, striving versus working.
Striving is working from a place of fear. I have to do this or I won't be enough. Working from identity is, I get to do this because I'm already safe.
Think about the benefactor image Pastor Florin uses. Imagine someone pays off your massive debt, like wipes out your entire mortgage and buys you a beautiful house.
Okay, I'm imagining it. It's a very nice thought.
Right. Do you then say, great, free house, and proceed to smash the windows, never mow the lawn, and let it rot?
No way. I'd probably take better care of it than if I'd bought it myself. Because I'm so grateful for the gift. I'd want to honor the person who gave it to me.
Exactly. Generosity produces fruit, not apathy. The 5 p.m. workers, the ones who know they didn't earn it, are often the ones who love the owner the most.
So the fear that this kind of generosity makes us lazy is actually just another symptom of the 6.0 a.m. mindset. It assumes the only reason anyone does anything is to get paid.
And the kingdom says we work because we are loved, not to earn love.
This brings us to the difference between scoreboard living and identity living.
Lay that out for us.
Scoreboard living says, I am what I do. I am my job title. I am my perfectly behaved kids. I am my marathon time. That leads to anxiety, because those things can change or fail.
And identity living.
Identity living says, I am loved by the king. My worth is settled. I am a child of the household, not just a hired hand. That leads to rest.
Can I be completely honest for a second, though?
Please do.
I can say, my worth isn't my work right now. It sounds great while we're talking. I can say it on a Sunday morning. But on Monday, when I open that laptop and I'm behind, or when I look at social media and see someone else's highlight reel, I feel like a failure again. The 6.0 a.m. mindset is hardwired into us.
Yeah.
It's in our water.
It really is. And, Pastor Florin's notes mention that even the first shift workers didn't realize they were envious until the end of the day. It took the pressure test to reveal the heart.
So it's not a one-time fix. It's a daily practice. It's constantly reminding yourself of the upside-down reality.
And we see this pressure everywhere in the community data we looked at.
Oh, for sure. Think about the remote worker isolation mentioned in the needs assessment. You're grinding alone in a home office. You don't have the water cooler chat. You're just hoping someone notices that you're...
That your Slack status is green, yes.
Exactly. You are desperate for validation that you exist and that you're doing a good job. That is the 6 a.m. worker screaming to be seen.
Or go back to that parenting stat, that 54% feeling unequipped. We try to earn the status of good parent through our kids. If my kid makes the travel team, I get a point on the scoreboard. If they struggle, I lose points.
That is a crushing weight to put on a child. Hey, kid, you better perform because my self-esteem depends on it. And it's crushing weight for a parent, too.
And social media is the ultimate comparative justice machine. You are comparing your behind the scenes, your messy kitchen, your fight with your spouse, your fatigue with someone else's 5.00 p.m. reward moment.
You're seeing their payday, not their process, and you start grumbling, man, I've worked all day in the heat, and look at them vacationing in Bali.
Are you envious because I am generous? It comes back to that every single time.
So how do we exit the treadmill? How do we actually stop this? Because I don't want to live angry and tired.
We've got a framework from the application notes we're calling pause, pivot, peace.
Break it down.
First, pause. When you feel that tightening in your chest, when you feel the jealousy flare up because a coworker got praise you thought you deserved, stop. Acknowledge the feeling. Don't suppress it.
Okay, pause. Don't just grind through it. Then,
Pivot. Ask yourself a specific question. Am I trying to negotiate a wage with God right now? Am I acting like a hired hand demanding my rights, or am I a child trusting the Father?
that's a big shift. From employee to family member. An employee has rights. A child has an inheritance.
And then peace. Remind yourself, my worth is settled, not earned.
We also have some real-life scripts you can use, because sometimes you really just need to talk to yourself.
Yes. Try saying this to yourself when you're overwhelmed. I am not an employee negotiating a salary. I am a child receiving a gift.
Or if you need to be vulnerable with a spouse or a friend and we know from the needs assessment that people are craving authentic connection, try this. Hey, I'm feeling like a 6 a.m. worker today. I'm grumpy because I'm working hard and feeling unseen. Can you remind me that I don't have to earn my place here?
That is powerful. Just admitting it breaks the power of the envy.
And we have one try this action for the week based on Pastor Florin's advice on giving yourself time to think.
This is the unproductive challenge.
Oh, this is going to be hard for our listeners. It's going to be hard for me.
It is. We want you to intentionally spend 15 minutes this week doing something completely unproductive.
Define unproductive.
No scrolling, no cleaning while you listen to the news. Just sitting, walking without headphones, watching the birds out the window.
The goal is to prove to yourself that the world doesn't fall apart when you stop hustling.
Exactly. The vineyard owner can handle the harvest for 15 minutes. You can rest.
It sounds simple, but for a high achiever, that is terrifying. It feels like wasting time.
It does. But that is where the healing starts. You have
Okay.
to decouple your activity from your existence.
You know, this whole upside-down revolution really does change things. If the last are first and the first are last, it means the pressure is finally off. I don't have to claw my way to the front of the line.
You can just trust the owner. He's generous.
Next time on the deep dive, we are going to look at what happens when that trust gets tested by all the shiny things around us.
That's right. Next time, we're talking about distraction and desire and how to find the better treasure when you're pulled in 1,000 directions.
You won't want to miss that.
But for today, remember, you don't have to earn the love that's already yours. The check has already been written.
If you missed the first two deep dives, go back and listen. They really set the stage for this revolution.
See you in the deep end.
Bye for now.